Hello and welcome to Sage's Retreat, a pleasant place for dad talk, gaming talk, and all the awesome bits in between. Today is a handheld special with some news thrown in for good measure and also what we've been up to over the last week. With me is my co-host Nathan, aka the Lord Shade.
Hello.
And also we have our very good, cuddly friend Terry, aka Ichigo2513. Hi, Terry.
Hello.
Right, well, we're doing a little bit of news first, but I've got a bit of an announcement, maybe like an announcement. Just a few changes and the future going forward for myself, Sage Street, and also Nathan. We're still committing to weekly podcasts. Don't panic for all you 7 listeners. Don't worry, it will still it will still be going out. This is our little
The avid fans.
the avid fans, the committed, the dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
We love you all 6 or 7 of you, possibly sometimes 10.
Yep.
If it's an interesting one, we do get some with some of the YouTube casts do get some hits. I've noticed we do get like the Star Citizen one did get a few people on there and even a few comments. And in fact, Terry, you commented on the video, didn't you? And you know what? I can't see the comments. I'm trying to view them, and I
I don't
couldn't.
think I did.
There is definitely some comments on there from. I'm sure. Well,
Somebody commented about it saying that they spent quite a bit of money on it.
I
Because
don't
I
know.
mentioned it to you.
Well, maybe it wasn't you. I apologise, but there were some comments on the video. I could not access them or see them, and I have no idea why. I need to look into it. But what we're going to be doing, so we're going to be committing to our weekly podcast, Don't Panic, and that will be obviously going up on Spotify and various other podcast platforms, as well as the video cast up on YouTube. We're trying to push out 1 or 2 videos a week. Could be anything. We're solely for the podcast. All the other stuff is extra. So if there's a game that we're playing and we find something interesting, we're just gonna throw out a video. It's just a case of just for the hell of it. It's just something we'll put on. A lot of the people that we interact with and with the podcast are interested in similar things. So some of them, I've even had who was it? Adam had said he'd watched the one of the Valheim videos and he'd got some tips and he'd figured out how to do something because of something we'd put on them. So they do prove, obviously, they do prove useful. Nathan, originally we were going to kind of stick together and do some live streaming. Well, that was kind of a sort of a lofty plan to do some live streaming on the Sage of Twitch. However, we have decided to keep that for special occasions, maybe live podcasts and other bits and bobs that we'll do as a collaboration, and we'll push it out on that. We're not trying to make that into anything. It's just there as sort of a backup platform for stuff that we're going to do. Nathan's been doing some live streaming. He set up his Twitch channel. He's going to be doing that a few times a week, 2 or 3 times a week. It's something that he has some spare time, something that he enjoys doing. So he's at Lord Shade 86 on Twitch. Go and find him. Give him a sub, not a sub, a follow. Because those follows early on, those follows are quite important. Even if you're not going to watch him, get on there. Just it would be a massive favour. Lord Shade 86 Twitch. On the YouTube video that I put up, I will put a link at the bottom. Nathan, remind me.
I will do.
And I myself, the reason for these sort of changes is that I'm probably going to be back at work within a month. So we need to figure out what we can do in respect to that work kind of life balance. It applies to all of us. You've got your kids and obviously your wife, and we all need to balance it out. So I'm actually looking to do a bit of live streaming as well on my Twitch channel that I've been revamping over the last week. It's ShaggyDog79. I would also appreciate a follow. It's not there's no pressure. It's not a big deal. But if you've got a Twitch account, jump on there. Just give us a quick little follow. Costs nothing. Takes like 5 seconds. And you never know. You might catch us streaming something that you play, or if there's something you want us to have a little play on, hit us up. In fact, I was thinking about doing, because Karina's been playing a few games now. She's got her little gaming PC. Same with Jay, hasn't she? She's been playing stuff. And I was thinking about doing a Borderlands 1 playthrough. I thought that could be a lot of fun. Whether it was,
do you know, funnily enough, I thought that myself. I thought that would be a good game for us to get on that, wouldn't it? Because it's co-op and it's good.
4. You can do 4 player, and it's only currently about £6 on CD keys. So I'm going to get that that's the Game of the Year Enhanced Edition for the original Borderlands game. So I was thinking we could maybe do, even if it was once a week, we kind of sat down and did 2 hours on it or something. I think that could be quite fun. We don't even have to each have this different characters. We could. To be honest with you, I think in terms of character balance, two soldiers, what's the name in the first one? Not Maya, that's the second one, isn't it? Lilith. Lilith, yeah, I can't remember what they call her. She's like, Siren. That's it. Thanks, Terry. I'm glad you're here. And then if we have the little, hey, I got a bird, I fire it over there. What's his name again? The sniper guy, Mordecai. I think two soldiers, Mordecai and
with his crow.
a Lilith. I think that would be an amazing team. I'm not a big fan of the. Is his name Brick? Is it Brick?
Yeah, Brick.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of him. I find him. It's great if you. I mean, yeah, he's a bit of a gimmick for me. I think the other ones are a bit more practical. Although as a Siren, Lilith, I don't think is as good as what the Maya is, or Maya, whatever we call it, in the second one. I think her Siren abilities are better. I think the original Siren is not the best. So yeah, we're going to do some live streams. I think maybe we should get that in action. We'll do that Borderlands, because Karina's been enjoying playing Mass Effect Andromeda. She's still playing it now. She's got like 20 odd hours on it. So it's like we'll be sitting down, there'll be nothing on TV. She'll go, right, I'm just going to go off and play Mass Effect, and then she's just. I feel like I'm now in a relationship with myself from a few years ago when I'd go off and play a game, which is hilarious. But it's great because she's been stressing out with her uni work, and it's good to be able to have a pastime to kind of like just throw it in I'm really enjoying the fact that she's enjoying Mass Effect. Maybe when we get that big, they're redoing it, aren't they? And it'll be out this year. Maybe she'll go play the other ones as well, because they're pretty good games. So we'll be doing special videos every now and again as well. So I'm looking at things like the Odyssey DLC for Elite when that comes out.
Yes.
We might even do our own little Sages Retreat mini guide to Elite for any new players. I know there's a lot out there, but it's always nice to have someone else's take on it. There's a lot of stress with guides and a lot of grinding. We'll try and maybe do something a bit more, not light-hearted, but a bit more immediate and practical and fun. I think that's something we have mentioned before, isn't it? Doing something. It might get us a few hits on the podcast as well, with it being, because it'll be popular at the time. So, leaving out little announcements, what have you been up to this week, Terry?
Not much, really. Obviously, kids have gone back to school. Yes. Other than that, it's just general adulting stuff and Valheim, really. Building in that.
Valheim, you've been still smashing Valheim. Obviously, you completed the current end game situation.
Yeah, because there's a placeholder for its drop. But yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm just building and learning new things and how to do things, and learn some quite cool tips.
Are you building in debug mode, which would be a perfectly legit way to do it, especially?
No, I try and do it with steps and stuff, and then destroy the steps after. So most buildings are low enough for me just to build without having to fly in the air or anything like that.
No, I meant in terms of just spawning in stone and stuff like that.
Oh, no. I try and do it properly.
Right.
I'm trying to do things properly. I mean, as I said before we came on here to Nathan, I've literally gone on my other servers, got all the wood, all the stone, everything, and then transferred it over to the newer server. So I have cheated in that sense, but everything else is legit.
I think it's perfectly fine if you've completed, like me and Nathan, we've said it ourselves because we've completed the game as it is early access, the kind of story mode so far. Then we've been like, we need to do a bit of building. Do we have a pickaxe and hit rocks for 4 hours in order to build a shed?
Yeah.
Or do I just bring in 100 stone and we just smash it on? That's what we've been doing. On the actual server though, you can't cheat. You can't access console commands on there.
Okay.
It's not possible. So you can't spawn in a really powerful sword, or you can't be like, I need, a troll to practice on. You can't just kind of do that. You have to play the game. The only way to cheat would be to go to a separate own, your own.
So a trainer, basically.
Your own personal thing, and then kind of bring it in.
Yeah, a trainer sort.
Yeah, but I think Valheim's been. I saw your pictures. I think it's looking good. I think you're an idiot for doing it in the plains. I think at some point
Just a little.
at some point you're going to accidentally flicker locks in the ass with a bit of stone, and it's giving,
Yeah.
and it'll be like. Be like, okay, it's Locke's mates, and be going, I think we're going to have to go and destroy him, and then they're going to rampage. They're going to get, it's going to be that like charge, and they're just going to just all the way through. But you might be fine. Are you building some defences around just to?
I will be building fences around them. I need to get rid of the other locks around first.
Yeah.
I need to build because I've got that goblin village behind me as well.
Well, I think I said on that. I did comment. Me and Nathan will come join up your server, and we'll go and smash them.
Yeah.
We'll demolish the village, and you can just set it up as a farm.
Well, I've got a portal straight from the runestone straight to my town, so I've made it easier for people if they do join. They can literally just go through the portal and they're there.
Yeah,
the plains is quite north.
We revamped our portal situation, haven't we? You know, we've got a room full of them, but
set some of them in stone, haven't we? So we don't need to keep switching. 'Cause while you set them up, it makes sense, doesn't it, to switch between a couple? But you might as well have permanent ones.
I've got 6, 7, including the ball from the runestone.
So we've got 8. We've got 6 up in the room, and then we've got 2 in our little portal. Oh, it was our original portal room, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And for all purposes, it's more like the practical room. So we've got a home portal, which is always our safe way back. Then we've got like a spare one, isn't there, at the moment? So if we're using one, if we just need to go somewhere, we can just use it that. But all the 6, I activated all 6, and it was like being in a house that had been set on fire, and you didn't quite know what was happening. Because imagine being surrounded by 6 portals, and they're all on. They're all like, and it was like you don't know where. Sometimes you even felt disorientated. It was odd. So Nathan came up with the idea of just renaming them. So each portal has an X at the end of its name. So let's say we've got there's one called Monolith, which is the base that I build in the plains on one of those towers. You know those big rocks that stick up? I've got a base on top of one of those.
Nice.
Well, you'll have to come on and have a look. And it's called Monolith, and it's just called Monolith X. So all you do is you walk up, you access it, you just like press right, and then you delete once, enter, and then you're in. So it's not a lot of work. But at no point do you need all the portals on. So you're only ever using one, aren't you? It's like, oh, we'll go to a Black Forest, or we'll go here, or we'll go to the mountains. So you only ever have one on at any time. So the idea of just throwing that extra letter on the end, and it's always an X. So if for some reason we find ourselves at a portal that we have renamed X at base, we know that we can just rename it either whatever it is, like Mountain X, or we could just rename it home and then jump back home. And all our portals are quite safe as well. They're all kind of like locked up, aren't they, as well? So they can't be damaged by anything. Because we've noticed that if you go through a portal, you kind of like trigger the local mobs, don't they? And they kind of like, all right, geezer, you're using that portal, and we're gonna smash it, and then they just try and demolish everything. But Valheim is still gripping us. It's still providing. It's still providing that fun. We've had like a day off or so. We've just been it's been a bit of a breather. I had Adam on the other day, and he's built himself a little house in the forest next door. Reason being, if he needs anything or he needs to access something, he can do. Although he's playing it pretty straight, he's not really messing about with it. And we didn't give him anything that. Could we give him a few bits? Like I gave him a basic shield and stuff. Like I'll take the shield and a bit of food or whatever. But we didn't give him anything that he can't like fix. So there's nothing significant that he's like not unlocked. Right? It's all right giving someone a silver sword, but if they're in battle, they're not going to be able to fix it, are they? So what's the point? Also, he doesn't need it. So currently he's Meadows and Black Forest, and that's all he needs to worry about. And you don't need a silver sword there, do you?
Not yet, no.
You can just carry on with whatever you've got. So, but yeah. Oh, we've decided that we're not using the black metal stuff.
Okay.
Because we think it's ugly.
It's very ugly.
It is ugly, but also the silver sword is better than the black metal sword.
Yeah.
Because it does that spirit damage, and it swooshes better. and it seems quicker. It looks cooler. And I think that the trade off is minimal. I think the black metal might do a little bit more damage overall, but I think the spirit damage, if you're if you're attacking like I don't know exactly how it works, but I think if you're attacking like the undead or whatever, I think it's doing more damage quicker. And I think it has that spirit. It's like a poison damage, so it ticks, doesn't it, a little bit? So if you hit something 3 times, it will like, and then it will just finish them off. Whereas the black metal, I believe, is pure. It's just pure brute slash, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like
it is.
Yeah. We decided that the black metal shields are ugly. The thing is, though, the aesthetic.
That's what I use.
Yeah, no. Well, the thing is, the aesthetic
the
is
black
something.
and red one.
Yeah, the aesthetic is something that will appeal to a lot of people because it does look cool, but it doesn't look. I'd say it's not our sort of cool. We prefer I prefer like the bronze buckler one, or just an iron shield. There's that serpent shield, but I believe that doesn't do parry. Is that right?
Yeah, you can't parry. I love that shield, but it's not worth the trade off for not being able to parry because I use parry all the time. So I'm hoping that they change that because it's a badass looking shield. That
it needs something else to it. It can block. Has it got the best block on it?
It's either got the best or second best. It's high up there. It's one of the best shields. It's certainly
one of the best
to get.
But the fact is, if you're using it, it's only got block, which I think I'd rather use an iron shield because if you're fighting a troll, and you might block it, but you're not dazing it, are you? You're not making that troll go moo like that, so that you can then rush up to it and kill it. So I think the benefits of it having a higher block on, they don't work out, do they? But it does look cool.
If it's nice on a wall,
it does look nice. That's where I was on a wall. There's the serpent shield. Looks nice. Just leave it. It's fine. The only black metal thing I am using, I've used the knife, and I use I don't know how you say it. I needed to look it up. The Atga. Is it Atga? ATGEIR.
Pole arm thing.
It's like a long spear.
Oh yeah. I know what you mean.
That is cool. So that does a lot of damage. I think that does one of the highest damage in the game. It does piercing damage. It's very very nice. That does look good. It's
got that middle mouse button swoosh move as well, hasn't it?
It has that.
It looks pretty nice.
Yeah. So if you get surrounded, it knocks them all back, so you can then run away and run out of stamina, so they can then get you again. I'd really hope they sort that stamina thing out. Just something.
Yeah.
It'd be good if you could have if the trader sold something to keep your stamina up maybe a little bit. I don't know. Maybe.
But there is in the game files items that increase your stamina permanently, but they've not been implemented yet. So maybe they're like boss item drops that you can use, and it gives you like an extra 10 stamina or something. So each boss you'll get like 50 from ones that's in a minute.
Yeah, because at the moment it's mostly food and potions.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to run indefinitely. Maybe what it could do is it could reduce your stamina down to a small amount, and then you could just run. And then if you did anything else other than running, your stamina would drop down. That would be good. But that would be like I don't want to say end game, but that would be like one of those items which everyone would want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you could have that, or you could have the belt, the weightlifter belt.
Yeah, like swift boots or something like that.
Yeah.
Special boots that you wear that might make you run indefinitely.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That'd be a WoW link then, wouldn't it? Or Warcraft link.
Yeah.
Lost Vikings, swift boots.
Have some little wings on them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. 100%.
No fall damage.
They're in Terraria, aren't they? It's all that. It's in Terraria.
Yeah.
Gaming news. Just a few tidbits before we hit on with what we're mainly on about today. But did any of you see any of this? Did you see what happened to Rust?
Yes, the servers.
There was a fire at the Rust server farm, and it all went down. So it's only affected the EU servers, and it was a total loss. It wasn't just a fire and some of the data's lost. It was a total loss of the affected EU servers during the data center fire, and it's brilliant, this article, and it says, I think it was a tweet, and there's like a space, and it just says data will be unable to be restored. And it's like, oh, I mean, I've never played Rust. It's a game I would like to play, but it went up in price, and I can't justify buying it at the moment. If I saw it for like 15 quid, I think I'd pick it up. But I think it's like 25, 30 quid at the moment, and I'm not going to. I don't want to pay that right now. I think.
I did a Jeremy Clarkson meme. It's like, oh no, oh well.
Oh no,
Anyway.
yeah.
Anyway,
But there are people that like to play Rust, and for them, this is. I think it's
devastating.
It's terrible. I mean, it scares me in a way to think that a game as big as Rust, even though it's an indie game and it's not like one of those mainstream that everyone talks about, it's a significant enough of a game that they haven't backed up their servers. It's just been like, oh yeah, where's all the server data? Oh, it's just over there in that building, and there was a fire and took it all out. I think it's a bit of a wake up call for gaming companies, maybe to just back it, just back it up, or maybe have a way for people to back it up themselves.
Yeah, back up your own stuff.
Yeah, so someone like who starts a server could just, if they want to, back it up, and even if it took a few gig, they could do it even if it was once a week or whatever. I think that would be a good old school. With games, you had to save. Like there was a period of time where Terraria or games like that were not cloud save. You had to back up your own information. But yeah, maybe that'll change in the future. One of our favourite battle royales, Apex Legends, are now allowing solo queue. And I thought they had it in, but apparently they haven't. And this is a new thing. I think all battle royale games should have. I know it depends on how busy they are, but I think a game as big as Apex should have solo. I'm thinking solo, trios, quads. I'd like to see that in games. I don't like it when they limit what you can do, because there's a lot of solo players. I don't want to say loner, but I want to say there's a lot of people that like to play on their own. They just want to get in there. They want to just be like, I've got an hour or two, I'm just going to play some Apex. They want to go in, they want to play, but they don't want to get with I'll just say some moron.
Because most of the time you just jump in, let them die, and carry on your own.
But you're at a significant a point of having to fight trios then, aren't you, as a duo?
Yeah.
I'd rather go trio against trio than duo against trio on the chance that trio is a highly organised team and they're going to smash it. I do. I'm glad they've put it in, but I think it's a bit overdue. I also think they should have trios in, but be able to opt out of having someone add on. So you should be able to play. I'd be happy to play trios as a duo if I chose it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So no fill.
Yeah. And just a no-fill, just do it, because that's what we do on Call of Duty all the time, isn't it? When we play Modern Warfare, you play in, we play, plunder trios or quads. And you go in and you're like, it's just two of us. We'll just play. It's fine. Although the chance of actually winning is kind of lowered down. I know you could say, oh, it depends where you land and all the rest of it. It does, but I think I don't know. See, now I'm thinking about it as a quad. If you're as a quad, I think you're more likely to engage in battles, in which case lose money. Maybe. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a duo.
You're more prone to going out because you only lose a little bit of money. But if you're solo, you've got all your money. You're going to lose a big chunk of it.
It's
so
interesting.
You want to hide.
It's an interesting. I'd like to see some stats on it. If you're a duo and you're sensible and you sneak about. Like, let's say you sneak about farmland, lumber, and all that, and you maybe make your way up to a prison or something. I wonder if you can collect. I wonder if you can be more efficient in your financial collection goal as opposed to. So I don't know whether you saw. I know you saw it, but me and Karina won a plunder the other day as a duo. We jumped in and we won. It was like it was getting to like maybe 5-10 minutes left, and I was like, "Oh, we're in first." oh no, we were in second. I went, oh, we were in second. And she's like, oh yeah. And then we was in first. And I was like, you know, you can see the line how it goes up and down depending on how much money the other team's got. That was, it was like, it kept going for like, we were second, first. And then we got a tiny bit ahead. And I'm like, Karina, just run, just collect everything. And then it got to a point where I was going from one building to the other and there was 4 seconds left and I just stood still.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do anything. There's nothing I can do right now. And then we won. And I was like, I think that's the second time we won playing together, just as a duo. Because it's quite hard, I think, sometimes. I think as a duo.
I've
Karina's
done it solo.
Yeah, Karina's still mastering the art of shooting straight. So I think although, you know, don't get me wrong, there's the amount of times that she said, I've killed them. And I've been like, what? And she's like, I just killed them 2 people that killed me, let's say. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, good girl. Pat her on the head, you know. Well done. So yeah, she can, but not all the time. Sometimes it just goes a bit wrong. Was there anything else? Oh, Valheim. Yeah, we've already spoke about Valheim. Sorry to get back onto it. Valheim is popular because it rejects boring survival systems. They reckon this is why it's popular, because there's no starvation and there's no repair bills. It was
not at the moment.
This was an interesting article from PC Gamer. I don't think there will be. I think
there will be repair bills at some point. They're just not implementing it because it's early access.
I think that implementing a repair bill that was too strict, too savage, too damaging could massively affect the way people look at the game. They don't want to make it too much. I mean, at the end of the day, you build
scale. It could scale. You know, to repair your hammer takes 1 stone, 1 wood. That's not much.
No. But when it comes to your house building and you're like taking a bit off, if you have to go and then mine a load of more stone and you're not in a place where there's not a lot, I think it could really start to annoy people. But I guess we'll have to see. Hopefully, it's all about balance, and they have to be careful because they've got a very successful game. And if they mess up the balance, they're going to annoy a lot of their player base, and they don't want to do that because they're a small team and they seem pretty friendly, and they just want to. I think they're just happy to be chill. I think they're happy to be chill. We said this before, but just chatted to Nathan a minute ago about DayZ. The vanilla standard DayZ suffers because it's too harsh. It is, and it used to be playable. We played it a lot.
It's unfairly harsh. Yeah, that's what it is.
I mean, what goes on with apples?
You're harsh. You can get on with harsh games, but when it's unfairly harsh, which that is, you're hungry.
I mean, if you can get past the first 10 minutes, you're fine. But it's those first 10 minutes are crucial. If you don't get those first 10 minutes, you're doomed.
I disagree. I would say you need to struggle past the first couple of hours. I'd say that it's not 10 minutes. It's not, because you can be 10 minutes walking up the coast. You can be 10 minutes trying to find anything at all. I think if you can get past the first few hours, I mean, just personally, I think you need a few hours to be able to get some...
I'd say first 10 minutes because that's how long it takes you to die, really.
Yes, I guess, I guess so.
So if you can get some food in you to keep you going for the next 10 minutes, and the next 10 minutes, and the next 10 minutes, and you're fine.
But that's it. You're constantly chasing...
Yeah.
You're constantly chasing your own starvation. You don't do that in real life. Why should you do it? You can last a few days without food easy.
Yeah, 3 days.
But in this game, it's like, I haven't had any food for 5 minutes, and you die. And it's like, come on.
It's the 3 rule: 3 hours, 3 days, 3 weeks.
Come on.
So
this should. I think it needs to be. They want to make it realistic. Make it realistic.
Yeah.
Or like do something like we said a minute ago. We were saying what it should be is that you should always have, let's say, 100 HP. It's an arbitrary number, and you never starve. But let's say you have to eat once every hour or so, and then you'll stay alive. But if you eat more food, you can run faster, you're stronger, you can fight better, that sort of thing. So you can always survive, but you'll be limited. I'd like to see if they just
something Valheim does.
Yeah, exactly,
basically.
And I think that's why it proves it's one of it proves popular. So yeah, that's it for our little news section. But today we are looking at handheld gaming, and we're late coming into it, but don't worry. If you're still here, thank you. I appreciate that. Today we're looking at handheld gaming and what it means to us, just to me, Nathan, and Terry, maybe the general world, but just focus on us at the moment. Starting off with the first release of an electronic handheld game, which was called Auto Race in 19. Any guesses, Terra?
1976.
76. Have you looked this up?
No.
1976. Hitting it mainstream with the Nintendo Game Boy, and then jumping to present time with the Nintendo Switch, which arguably is a handheld console with the option of playing it on the TV. So we're not going to hit every handheld that's ever been, but we're going to start with you, Terry. And what was your first? And where did you go from there?
Well, my first one was this one.
The first
For those
one.
the first ones who are actually just using the audio one is a Game Boy.
So
the original Game Boy.
The original Game Boy. Iconic.
Yes.
Everyone knows a Game Boy, don't they? If you,
Yes.
Nathan, if you show your kids a Game Boy, would they be like, that's a Game Boy?
Yeah, they know.
Yes.
Yeah, my kids do, because I showed them. But yeah, I mean, I have. Obviously, I rebought this when I was for my birthday a few years back. But I've got the original games that I had. So like Tetris, Super Mario Land, and Legend of Zelda DX. So those are the three I had when I was younger, and got them back again.
Have you got those games on there?
Yeah, I've got them now. Yeah.
Oh, you got the physical. You got the physical games.
Got the physical copies of all three games.
So if you shove some batteries in that Game Boy, will it work? Is it just some for the? Is it some on show?
Plays the noise, Terry.
Not that you might see, but the red light.
I can see Nathan's face reflecting.
Yeah, I just realised. Yeah, you got Nathan's face.
No,
but
I can see the light.
It does work.
Oh, I'm actually a little bit jealous, Terry. I am.
It does work. Yes, not very well, but it does work.
So how much was that to buy?
30, I think it was.
About 30 quid. Was it in good nick? Like.
I mean, it's sort of yellowed a little bit, but yeah, it's in pretty good nick.
That's good. I tell you what, let me find out how much a Game Boy is selling on eBay right now. So we've got a Game Boy Color. No. 7 hours left on a 1989 Nintendo Game Boy with 4 games. That's 13 bids, £5 postage going for 38 quid.
Yeah.
7 hours left, 38 quid. That'll probably go for what? 50, 60 maybe?
Well, when I got this one, it was like 40 odd in CX at the time.
Oh, you got it from CX?
No, I got it from eBay.
Right,
eBay
so it was 40 odd quid. Right, gotcha.
Well, it was for my birthday, so I don't know.
Yeah, there's a buy it now Game Boy Color yellow for 42 quid. That's not too bad, is it really?
But yeah, that's where I started.
That's where you started. Did you take it everywhere? Were batteries?
Yes,
you did.
Obviously, vivid memories of traveling on a train or something like that to my grandparents and my mum at the time, and playing on Tetris. And obviously, coming back in the dark, and you got some light when you're like this, and you're like that on every light you can find.
Of course, there was all those
no backlights.
There was all those add-ons for it, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, you could make it look like a monster.
So you could it had like a big magnifying glass on the top. Can you remember those? And then it would have the lights.
Then you had some speakers, stereo speakers.
Oh, speakers as well, yeah. So
and you had a camera that you could print off.
I'd like to see the Game Boy in its final form.
I've got a picture somewhere on my PC.
I could imagine it being something that turned in from a handheld to something you didn't want to move because
it looked like a monster. It looked like a transformer.
Like, if you shook it, it's like, one bit's dropped off and another bit would drop off.
It's like a transformer.
Yeah, are they strong? Could you hit someone with it? Like, would it be a good weapon?
Yeah, it's pretty sturdy. I mean, I wouldn't want to crack it, but
just that. That's good. That's good.
Well, if you do it from the back end where the batteries are, that's quite hefty.
Yes. Where did you go from?
I would condone it.
Where did you go from the Game Boy?
What do you mean?
Handheld wise, did you go to a Game Boy Color? Did you upgrade the original
from Game Boy? I didn't have a Game Boy Color, but I did go the Game Boy Advance.
Oh, that was the one that was like it looked like a game.
Oblong, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I went SP, which was the foldable one with a light in it. So finally, they had a backlight.
Oh, of course, yeah. That was like a
Yes.
precursor to the S, though, wasn't it? That was
That was,
like
yeah.
them experimenting with that. Like, well,
The
they're
flip
popular. We need to
screens,
do
yeah.
something. Yeah, yeah.
Then I went to the big grey DS.
Is that the one that looked like a breeze block that had been sliced?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yes. So I had one of them. I was working for a call center at the time, and I remember them when they were first released. You couldn't get a hold of them, and someone had got one a week before from Japan and brought it in, and we were all playing on it while doing phone calls.
Well, as you would do. I imagine that
Yeah.
people that work in
Also
call centers
PSP as well.
constantly playing solitaire anyway. So
Yeah. So we had a PSP as well that someone brought in a week earlier than it was released over here. So we were playing on that as well and going, "Oh my god, that's so cool!"
the
But yeah,
PSP.
that's where I stopped on the handhelds on that one. Anyway.
Yeah, I think the PSP was that handheld that made people think, "Wow, it's a proper console." I think it was that. It
Yeah.
was that first big. I know the Game Boy was the one that
They had the
really.
mini discs.
Yeah, the UMDs, weren't they?
Yeah.
The Game Boy was the one that brought it into brought gaming out the house, wasn't it? That big
Yeah.
for people. Everyone could like have a Game Boy and it'd be amazing. You could even
Yeah.
link them up, couldn't you?
Yes, you could. I think it was the one that you could interchange games because obviously you had those little rubbish racer games or Street Fighter, the little black pixels that you would fight on,
Yes.
that you would get for like, a couple of quid back in the day. But then obviously Game Boy came along, you could change games. That was a game changer for everybody. Oh, wow.
I realise what you're on about now. Sorry, I was thinking of something else.
Yeah,
You're on about the,
like
the LCD ones.
yeah, LCD, that's it.
I had a red one and I had a yellow one. One of them was like a Space Invaders clone, and the other one was a racing one. You had like a permanent track.
Yeah,
but
right.
you had cars coming down, and you would basically go boop, boop, and left or right in order to dodge it. Did you ever have any of those, Nathan, when you were little?
Yeah.
Nathan? Are you there, Nathan?
Oh yeah.
Can Nathan
hear
He's daydreaming.
No, I was just saying. Do you remember those little ones from when you were little?
Yeah, what were they called? Pop Boys or something?
I think there were
the
various
LCD ones.
Yeah, I think there were various ones, but there was a range which was quite popular. I'll see if I can find.
Well, they had Street Fighter, Tetris, Mario. So Nintendo brought their own versions out in a way.
Yeah, I had Jurassic Park. Like a couple of movie time ones, the watch, and you could
have the watch ones
on the little LCD screen. Yeah, they were proper.
I had a Tetris one, a Tetris watch. So, and I used to get into trouble at school for playing on it.
I remember those. Yeah.
I got it took off me at school because I kept playing it all the time.
Game and Watch. Just put in Game and Watch.
Yeah.
The Nintendo Game and Watch. That was the one.
Yeah. It was like black and red.
They've just brought one out, haven't they? They've just brought a new one out.
Have they?
Yes.
Another watch?
No, another a Game and Watch. They've like brought it out as a retro, new little. Yeah. We'll have to have a little look into that. But yeah, the Game and Watch was that one. So between the Nintendo DS and the Game Boy Advance was something that was released that I really wanted. It came out in 2003. Do you remember the N-Gage?
I had one.
Oh, you had one. Oh,
I had one, and you had to hold it like that.
Like
a phone call. Yeah, I've got a picture of it somewhere.
I'm just looking at it now, and I still feel like I still have that urge to own one. Like I want one. They were amazing, and their games were brilliant. It came out in 2000 and what was it? So there was another one called the N-Gage QD. It sold 3 million of those sold. That was I don't know how that relates in terms of it being successful, but everyone knows and remembers them, and I think everyone knows somebody that had one.
They weren't as successful as far as I was concerned. They were they were horrible to do phone calls on because you had to hold it sideways.
Yeah.
So it looked ridiculous. But gaming wise, you also had to take the back off, take the battery off, change the game, put the battery back in, put the back on, so you could play.
Wow.
And that was an issue. So when they brought out the next gen version of it, you could just slot it in instead.
I like to think that's why it failed then. That's why it didn't hit as big as it could have done, because it took 3.5 hours to change a game. Yeah.
And most of the games were okay. I mean, I had Splinter Cell, Tomb Raider. Those are the two I can remember anyway.
Yeah. What did you have a PSP, you say?
I have the PSP still somewhere.
What games do you remember playing on the PSP?
The first game I got was Burnout.
Burnout. Oh, of course.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the one I mentioned in the last video was in Katara Man.
Oh,
That actually came out. That actually came out for it. So I was straight on it.
oh, okay. The one handheld which I never owned, which I always wanted, was the Game Gear, which is
That took like 100 batteries and
yeah,
died within an hour.
yes, that's
Yeah.
it.
My best friend had one, and it was amazing. But the batteries it went through back in the day, obviously batteries weren't
Yeah.
as good, so it just tear through your batteries.
But
It's like I just remember he had a bag full of batteries just for it.
such a nice
Yeah.
looking,
Yeah,
just such a nice looking beast as well. Look,
it was a chunky beast as well.
it
It's
was
quite
they
chunky.
so Sega just released 4 new Game Gears, tiny little ones like this, and
Micro ones.
they each play like 4 games on, and it's a case of you look at them, you look at all 4, and each one has a game that you want to play. It has like
Oh,
3 games that are trash, and then 1 game that you want to play. But they're like really they're quite terrible. I watched someone review them, and they're quite terrible. But they're also awesome because they're small, colourful little Game Gears. There's
just
like
go
a
and buy
yellow, a
an
green.
original.
There's like a yellow, green, blue, and a red one. But I think they
Yeah,
just why not? They're just cashing in. But I think they're a little bit too
yeah.
expensive for what they are.
Just go and buy
Um,
an original. The
yeah,
batteries will handle it now, and
and get yourself a
games. Yeah.
backpack full of batteries maybe to go with it. But yeah, batteries are
Well,
better, so maybe
batteries are a hell of a lot better now.
yeah, and
So, yeah,
cheap. I think batteries are relatively. If you just want even
yeah.
like a normal battery, not like a fan shop battery, but like a
Well,
general.
pack batteries are all right.
Just I'm just
Well, depending which ones you go for, they're all right.
right. What about you, Nathan? What happened with you with your handheld gaming life?
I started off with Game Boy, which I think most people did anyway. But we had the grey one, which we had Tetris for. Well, you needed one. We had Tetris for. We had like a MotoGP game that were a bit rubbish. And then we went on holiday. First time I went abroad when I were about 9 or 10, I think it were. And while we were there, they sell like electronics really cheap. And I bought another Game Boy while I was there because ours had broken. And it was, can you remember the 90s fashion of see-through tech? So it had like, you could see all the wires and everything and all the lights. It was one of them. And it were proper good. And all the games were like cheap over there. So we bought a load of games. And it's the first time I played Pokemon. And that Pokemon Red with that, beautiful. That's one of the games that I spent majority of my childhood playing a handheld. It's Pokemon. And that was at Game Boy. I'm trying to think of any other games that we had. I mean, I had a couple of them, if you can remember them, like dodgy cartridges that would have like 50 games in one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had to like sort of change it. But most of the games were the same. You'd get like Dr. Mario 2, Dr. Mario 3, and it'd be like some weird dodgy Japanese games that didn't do anything or something. So we had some of them. And then we moved on to I never had Game Boy Color, which I always missed because I wanted to play Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages.
Yes.
If you can remember them, the Zelda ones. I ended up emulating them a few years later on PC.
I had them on the SP because they stuck out like a sore thumb.
Yeah. It was like an extra bit.
Yeah.
Because it was way too big for it. Because it was weird how SP carried on the game cartridges from the Advanced. I know it was like a just thingy because they were that weird little shape. But then it could take the old Game Boy games.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
so I had all the Zeldas, which were really, really cool.
Yeah. I had the Advanced, the SP. I've had DSs, I've had PSPs. We've got a Switch at minute. Kids have got a Switch at minute. But I think overall, I'd say Pokemon Red were my favourite from all because that's what I spent the most time. I tried to play Yellow, but I wasn't a big fan of Yellow. I didn't like. I never liked Pikachu. Yellow. Yeah, I always like Charmander. That's the best start of Pokemon, obviously. So I always just put Charmander every time because we don't want a Charizard. So I go for that. But yeah, I had PSP just so that I could play Final Fantasy 7 again because I cracked it so that you could put it on. So I had that on. I had Rogue Squadron. That were really good. Crisis Core.
Yes.
Because I missed out on Crisis Core when that first came out, and I wanted to play that. But yeah, it's just lots of handhelds. Even though it's strange when I look back on them because I always remember consoles over handhelds, even though I had quite a lot of handhelds. I never had Game Gear, but my friend had that, like same as you. And I always wanted to play that because he had the Home Alone game where you went round and if you could it on sledge
Oh my
outside on
God,
ice
yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
That was proper good. I always wanted that. I mean, a few years ago, even for kids, I bought. I don't even know where it is anymore, but from August, it was like 20 quid or 30 quid. It were a Mega Drive handheld, and it were like
Right.
you could choose between like a certain number of games, like Kid Chameleon or Altered Beast. So to get kids into handheld gaming, but then they've had DSs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know you haven't had much experience with handhelds, have you, Lee?
No, not at all. So early on, never had. Well, we didn't have a lot of money. Sorry to get my violin out, but I never had a lot of money being younger, and my consoles were, Master System, Mega Drive, and then going on from there. But it's like I had a friend with a Game Boy, and it was like magic to me. It was like, what is this? I was never impressed with the screen, even years ago. I mean, it just was. I found it a bit blurry, like it wasn't it? There's no defending it. It's blurry.
Yeah, it went 720p.
And you had to be in the right light as well because you couldn't see anything. Even with the contrast.
So even though I couldn't afford one, I don't necessarily think I would have wanted one. I found them a bit sort of lackluster. But I get if you can see past that, absolutely amazing. Then I had a friend who had a Game Gear. Tetris. I did play a lot of Tetris on the Game Boy at my friend's house. A lot of Tetris, which I think everyone
still
did.
do.
Yeah, I think. I mean, is it the best version of Tetris, like from years ago? Maybe because of the charm of it being on the handheld. I think you kind of relate it to. I even downloaded a Tetris for my phone not long ago, and that was also a ton of fun. Absolute ton of fun. So going from there, like I say, playing on Frame's Game Gear. The only problem with the Game Gear is that it was basically a Master System.
Yes.
So they didn't have a good version of Sonic the Hedgehog. They did have good games on it, but the Master System Sonic the Hedgehog was rubbish compared to the Mega Drive. It was totally different. It was like, it's not even the same. They're not even trying to copy it in a worse looking way. It was just trash. But it was all I had at the time.
Was bad.
So I don't remember Sonic 2 on Master System.
It was nothing like the Mega Drive version.
Right. The Mega Drive Sonic 2, I mean, I know I'm a bit biased, but I think the Sonic 2 on the Mega Drive is arguably one of the best computer games ever made. Just considering from its time period, obviously. I mean, just for the fact of, you got up, you played that game, it looked great, played great, the music was great, everything about it was great. But it was just not. It wasn't a thing that you could enjoy on a Game Gear. I only found out about this a few years ago, but the Sega Nomad, which let me find the information on it 1 second. I'm just going to be totally rude now and just skipping through Wikipedia. Nomad. I saw you a minute ago. Come on, where are you? That's the Game Gear. A little bit further. Nomad. Here we go. So the Nomad was basically a Mega Drive. And I don't think it came out in this country. I think it came out in Japan and North. So 1995 it came out in Japan. 1995 it came out in North America. Never hit these shores, and I think people in this country just missed it totally. Maybe we read about it in a magazine, but in general we just never got to experience it. And I think it was expensive. It was a chonker. It was a big looking. It was like a square. Imagine a squared off. Game Gear.
Oh Jesus!
But it played Mega Drive games. So you could have played that. You could have had that Sonic 2 experience on there. I think the only problem with it, the only problem with the Game Gear and the Nomad would have been the fact that yes, it used the same cartridges. So the Nomad would have the Sega Mega Drive cartridge shoved into it. So it had that much room. The problem is those games weren't designed for the Nomad. So if there was writing on it, it would be small. There would be stuff that would be harder to see because all it was done was shrank down. I don't know if there was any specific made Nomad games. I mean, if they were to make them, obviously they'd just make certain text bigger, wouldn't they? So you could sort of see it. I think nowadays, if they do it, they'd probably just have it so it's scaled. So it would either, are you on a Nomad or are you on a, and then it would just scale certain elements. But that was one. Yeah. So I'd say my first experience would have been the LCD, not the Nintendo ones, but some knockoff ones I got from Argos. The LCD games which I mentioned earlier,
Space Invaders and stuff.
Yeah, just that kind of stuff. So we skipped all the Game Boys. The first proper handheld we had would have been the PSP. Played racing games on it, Street Fighter on it, which was amazing. It was like Street Fighter Hyper X Giraffe Edition 4 or something. I don't know. They had some convoluted name on it. That was amazing. And to hold a PS, I was like, wow. Because they felt so good. They're so heavy.
Quite heavy as well, yeah.
So heavy. The battery was pretty decent. And then someone hacked mine for me. And so you could download games and put them on a memory card, which is which was very much something that I didn't just say. Never did that. But yeah, very cool. And there was, I believe there was a slightly smaller PSP now. There was the PSP 3000 that came out in 2008.
They brought a PSP Go as well.
PSP Go as well, yeah. What does that look like?
It looked like an old slide phone. But then they revamped it and made it into the PS Vita.
That's it. So the Go basically transformed into the Vita, which we never had.
Because it was pretty much the same thing, basically with touchpad on it.
Yeah. So the next step.
I don't think anyone had Vita, did they? I think that were a bit of.
I don't know.
Bill, you had a Vita as well. Yeah,
I have one somewhere. It's broken at the moment, but it is a new battery, and I need to clean the analogs because someone spilled juice all over it.
Yeah, well, you need to be more careful with your juice, Terry.
Yeah.
At no point did anyone that I ever know turn around and go, "Oh, I've got one of those Vitas." I think it bypassed a lot. That was the last one that they released, and then they just didn't bother anymore, did they?
Yeah, I think the best thing I liked about my Vita was I could attach it to the PS4, so I could go to the toilet and still play Destiny. Because you would literally stream straight to the Vita, so you could play from the Vita while you were playing on the PS4.
Yes.
So I could walk around the house still playing Destiny.
Remember people mentioning that? Yeah, that's a pretty good idea, but.
But then they brought the mobile phones could do that. So
yeah, that's right. And it wasn't quite decently integrated into the Sony mobile phones, wasn't it?
Sony Xperia 2 was the first one to do it because I had it.
That's pretty.
That's the reason I went for it, because you could do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very temperamental with the Wi-Fi.
But I'd say going on from PSP, we then had a Nintendo DS, not the chunky one, but the DS Lite that came out. And then we had the 3DS. I accidentally called it the 3D DS earlier, which sounded hilarious when I said it. The 3D we've got a 3DS, and I think Jack still plays on it now sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they got a lot more played. I think all my kids have had one. I think Amy had Paige had a pink one. Can't remember what Jack had. I think he had like a very normal color. I can't remember what it was now. Then Amy had that mint green.
Yes.
She had that one that came out. That was pretty cool looking, actually. And they played on them a lot. Generally good consoles. A good little console. We had a brilliant add-on for one of them, a Guitar Hero add-on. Did you ever see that?
Well, with the little finger thing on it.
Yeah, you could take off the little slot and then you could put it on, and then it was rubbish. It was so rubbish, but it was also very awesome at the same time. You had this really cool, whoa, look at this. It kind of made
fingers flexing,
I think it was really painful to use after I don't know.
It got very uncomfortable.
Maybe 10 minutes or so, it was like, okay, my pinky finger's really, it's just not doing this anymore. And then you just sort of had to kind of
use the stylus.
I just had to stop on that one, yeah. But loads of fun. I don't know if we had one after that. I think it's then a case of jumping over to the Switch.
Yeah.
So Nintendo wise, we've had GameCube, Wii U, which I still think people didn't appreciate it for how good it was as a unit. I think don't cock your nose up, Terry. Not with that wallpaper. We then of course go to see. I said to my son the other day, I said, what do you prefer, the Wii U or the Switch? And keep in mind, he's probably played, I don't want to say thousands, but he's played out a lot. And he said
He's played a lot. I remember
He's-
playing Mario Kart with him.
he prefers the Wii U.
Yeah.
And he's a young lad. He's like 17. In fact, he's 18 at the end of this week. And like he prefers the Wii U. And he's like, I don't know. He just likes it. It didn't give me a really good reason. But I think it might be slightly not. I think it's his nostalgia coming through for how much fun he had on it.
Yeah.
Just interesting. The Switch is obviously a handheld. It's like 90% handheld, and then maybe I'll put it on the TV if I then want to disconnect the controllers, and then most people I know. Most people I know play the Switch just by holding it.
Yeah, well, we've got a Switch Lite, so it's definitely a handheld.
Oh, yeah, because you can't sort of connect it up, can you?
Yeah, it is just a big handheld. But our eldest has that, so...
Yeah, so onto the Switch Lite. Funnily enough, out of all the Nintendo consoles I've had, the Switch Lite, I've probably only clocked up... Ooh, I probably only played on that for about 2 hours. I just, although it's as a console, it belongs to the whole family.
Yeah.
I just don't tend to play on it. PC and Xbox sometimes, but generally I'm a PC gamer, and I just can't. I don't like the Joy-Cons. I don't like the feel of them. I don't think they have been made with adult hands in mind. I feel like they're made for smaller hands. I find them awkward. I mean, Jack's actually had some new Joy-Cons that are bigger and they're easier to hold now. So that's a lot better.
Cool.
But going forward with handhelds from the Switch, I would really like, and we mentioned it before, I'd really like one of those little Android, or the little ones that you buy that you can you make. Nathan, we've mentioned these before, haven't we?
Yeah,
like a Raspberry Pi.
The Raspberry Pi type thing.
The Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
You say you can buy all these bits and bobs on a website. Is that what you?
I saw one
Pi
Game
Hop.
Boy.
Pi Hop.
Yeah, you can build a full Game Boy with like a screen that's like a 4K screen basically.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like
it's got little dials instead.
Yeah.
I saw it on Facebook. It came up as an advert. I was like, "Oh, that's quite cool."
I think that's something I might do because you can emulate games on there, can't you, as well?
Yeah. I've got the Nintendo library if you need that as well, because I know it's quite difficult to get hold of now, isn't it? Because they stopped a lot of the ROMs.
Yes.
What are your guys' experience with Switches? Do you play them or not?
No, I've only had like 30 minutes on it.
You do, Nathan?
Yeah, when we first got it, we primarily got it for Breath of the Wild, the Zelda, and I absolutely smashed that. I don't know how many hours I've got on it, because Nintendo don't like to tell you how long you've been playing for. It's not like PC, like where you can find, I've 180 hours on this game or something. But yeah, we played Switch quite a lot. We play it mainly on TV, just because you usually play 4-player as well, because we'll play Mario Kart or Minecraft, or what's the other games we've got? Luigi's Mansion. We've got that new other Zelda as well, Link's Awakening. We got that specifically to try that, because I never got around to play that originally.
That's the one I've got.
We do get quite a lot of use. Yeah, because they remade it, didn't they, for Switch, like a cartoony like aesthetic, which looks really nice. But yeah, I mean, I ain't played on it much lately. I can't remember the last time I played on it actually, but when we first got it, I played a lot of Zelda, because I like 100% that. But kids playing it more than me, and Alice will play on it more. Starter all in. If she plays in it, she plays in it handheld anyway. She'll come and sit downstairs because it's set up in kids' bedroom. She'll come down here so she can sit with us and play on whatever she's playing.
It's good. The Switch is an amazingly successful console, and I know they're a lot about updating it, aren't they? I think they're doing some sort of big power update with it to make it a bit beefier. Just because there are some games that it has struggled with that they've tried to port over, isn't there? I mean, I don't think
Witcher
it needs
3.
to. Witcher 3, yeah. I don't think it needs to compete with the big boys on the market. It doesn't need to compete with PC, PlayStation, or Xbox, especially with their new consoles that are out. It doesn't need to compete in that space. Make the games more accessible, make them a bit cuter, make them as playable as they can, and I think it will it will survive absolutely fine. Nobody, I'm not gonna say nobody, but people aren't sitting around going, I played Witcher 3 on, on my console. I've even played it on PC. I really need it for Switch. It's there in case people have never played it and have only got Switch. I get that, but they're trying to port it over and they can't. They just kind of messed it up, didn't they?
Yeah.
Does anyone have anything?
It's quite expensive as well.
What the
If you ever look at the Switch games, it's like kids want us to play Skyrim, and I refuse to buy Skyrim again because I don't know how many times I've had it. I've had it for 360.
On everything.
For PC like 4 times. Yeah, it's
like me, Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah. So I've refused to buy it again, but the kids wanted to play it on Switch, and it's £50, and I'm not paying £50 for a game that's been out for 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Nearly. And even second hand, it's like £46.99. No, I'm not paying that much money. It is very expensive. The Switch. It's not, even though it's like sort of aimed towards children. It's a bit money grabbing, which I find a bit tight. I mean, you play on PC. I know PC costs a lot more than a console, but you can buy games for like £3. Do you know what I mean? It's just Is it just an idea?
I think that's one of the reasons that I haven't played that much on Switch, because you might look in the store and you're looking and you're going, that's like 20 quid. That's like a £5 on PC, or I already own it, and I'm like, I'm not just going to buy it again to play on this console, which I don't really like physically holding. And I think maybe, it's good for the Nintendo. It's just like any other. It's like any other Nintendo product. It is good for the Nintendo games because they do them really well.
Yeah,
and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the future with it, because I believe they reckon it's about halfway through its life cycle now. The Switch has been out like 4 years or something now, so we'll see where it goes. Does anyone have anything else to add to Handheld Gaming?
No, not off the top of my head.
No, we had a look at some failed ones, didn't we, with Virtual Boy, which give you headaches.
Yes, another big failed one would have been the Gizmodo.
Yeah,
I remember that being massive, being like, oh, best thing ever, you can do this, and then suddenly it disappeared. I think there was a big business side flop with that, and to do with money and like the owners and stuff. That was interesting. I mean, I think we had plans on doing a failed products special at some point in regards to consoles and whatnots, because there's lots out there. I think that would be a fun one to address. But yeah, I'm
going to go out on a limb. I'll go out on a limb and say there's more failed consoles than there is actual consoles that succeeded and failed ideas to do with gaming.
Just a little.
I think it depends. There's lots that come out and just don't make it big, but I don't think that's what I'd class as a failure. For me, a failure would be the Sega Dreamcast. That would be a failure, or the Saturn, because Saturn
was definitely a failure
because it was from a big company that didn't impact, or like the Gizmodo, because they bigged it up so much. I saw it everywhere, but then it just went to nothing. For me, that's a failure. But there's definitely a lot. But yeah. On that note, thanks for joining us. Drop a comment on your thoughts with Handheld Gaming, if you have any, or any thoughts on anything that we've just said. Don't forget to give us a like, give us a subscribe, because we're cheesy like that, and especially if you want to hear some more from us. Big thanks to Terry for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Terry.
Big thanks for Nathan, my co-host, as always.
Thank you.
And a big thanks from me. Hopefully you'll see us again, or maybe we'll see you again. Yes. Catch you later. Thank you for listening to us today. You can find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and various other platforms. Not to forget, of course, YouTube. Myself and Nathan also do weekly Twitch streams. Find us at ShaggyDog79 and LordShade86, respectively. We're always looking for new people to connect with, so give us both a follow, if that's your sort of thing.